Hey friends, it's Peggy Hall here from thehealthyamerican.org. Let's talk about language. Language is so important, and language can often be used to deceive, confuse, and separate people by manipulating their mind. Let's talk about some of the words that have been used in this entire situation. And I would like to hear from you what language has really bothered you. Now, one of the very first words that was used, at least here in California, was, "We are on lockdown." No, we're not. I looked up the word lockdown. Lockdown is used for prisoners in a jail, and they are locked in, and they don't have a way out. Okay, I have a key to my own front door. I can leave if I want to. And no policeman or no prison guard is standing outside my door preventing me from leaving. And you may be saying, Peggy, come on, it's just a phrase. We know they don't mean we're prisoners. It just means staying at home, shelter in place, stay home. Well, then why don't we use the phrase stay home, recommended to stay home? Now, many people did speak out against this phrase, and I wrote all these down because I don't want to forget any. And I did start to hear the media and the government say shelter in place. All right. So it's mildly better, but I want you to be very curious and very interested in the language, because language can be used to manipulate minds. And I know that's not going to happen to you. So I would love to hear some of the words that you find egregious and offensive. This next one, really, I just couldn't tolerate, and that is essential. The government decided that certain people were essential and certain jobs were essential. Everyone is essential. You are essential. I am essential. Everyone is essential. Every business is essential. The business is essential to the person who owns it. It's essential to the employees who work there. And it is essential to the people it serves. If it wasn't essential, it wouldn't exist. And you may be saying, oh, Peggy, you are just being divisive. You are being negative. We know it doesn't mean essential. It means important, or it means necessary. Well, those words could have been chosen. There are so many words in every language. And why don't we choose the words carefully? These were chosen carefully by the media and the government. So instead of using the word essential, the government could have issued a statement that just said, we allow these jobs to be open, these jobs to be worked at, and we allow these businesses to be open, and we don't allow these businesses to be open. That's all it needed to say. You don't need to have a value added onto these jobs. All of the government jobs were deemed essential, and many of those government workers got raises at their essential job, while you got laid off and might have had to apply for unemployment, or in cases like me and others, when you are self-employed, there is no unemployment, or they make it extremely difficult to get. So I don't care for that word essential. I never used it, and I'm never going to use it, other than to say you are essential. Your job, whether you have a job or not, taking away your right to work is not really even about the money. It is about you contributing, about you being engaged in something that you are creating value and having a purpose for getting up and going and doing. You know that it's so much more than about a paycheck. And the government giving money, like hush money, so you wouldn't feel bad about being laid off. Getting money from somebody never feels the same as when you earn money, does it? Love to hear your comments below. All right, this one is where they really try to manipulate your mind. Social distancing. All right, that's like saying we're having a dry rain. All right, you can't have a dry rain. You can have dry weather, or you can have rain. You can be distant, or you can be social. You might say, Peggy, come on, we know what they were talking about. It just means, you know, standing 6 feet apart. Well, why don't we use that phrase then? When you are outside, you are asked to stand 6 feet apart. Now, some of this language has been changing because people are bristling against it. I call it forced separation because it has been forced upon me, not that I'm doing it, and it is a separation. Now, some of the government and media started to say physical distancing because so many people pointed out the oxymoron of social distancing. Now, the reason why that's so important in these phrases is because your brain wants to make sense of things. It wants there to be a logical flow and a connection of information. So when a phrase is put to you like social distancing, without you even realizing it, or maybe realizing it, your brain starts to go to work to try to make sense of it. We have an expression of putting a square peg in a round hole. It just won't fit. So your brain, there's an underlying process going on of trying to make this fit, which means you are not paying attention to what else is going on, like tyranny, like your freedoms being trampled upon. Because without realizing it, you're going, well, social distancing, I'm not essential, lockdown, but I'm not a prisoner. You consciously know these things, but deep inside your brain is processing that information and it is distracting you and confusing you, and that's by design. That's the manipulation of the mind. Now, this next one really bothers me. I'm going to say that about each one. We're in this together. No, we're not. No. You're having your experience and I'm having my experience. And your experience is yours and it's different than my experience. Oh, come on, Peggy. You know what they mean. They mean that everyone is affected by this illness and, you know, it's global and we all have empathy for each other. That's what they mean. Well, if that's what they mean, why don't they say it that way? You see, I've been an educator all my life, and I really care about the language. And yes, the language develops, it changes. I make mistakes with the language all the time. I am fully aware of my faults and flaws, and I hope that you will help me with that. But I am not intentionally trying to deceive someone with my words, and that's the difference. When I hear that phrase, we're in this together, stronger together, we're apart together, really, we're together, but we're on lockdown, even though you're in your house and I'm in mine, but we're together. You see, the brain doesn't like that. It's a disconnect. And that disconnect is going to use up brain power, and you may not even realize it, but there's something that just bristles against the logic. Also in California, which is a very communistic government, they will use phrases like, there's a new logo, which looks like from the Soviet Union. And it says, you know, California all, like all. No, I am an individual. I have my own desires, my tastes, my preferences, my goals, my dreams, my hopes, my ambitions, my capacities, just like you do. And mine are valid, just like yours are. And mine don't have to be like yours. We don't have to be all together, especially when we're separate. So no, we're not in this together. Unless my neighbor is paying my mortgage, I don't think so. Unless my, I got laid off a couple jobs and no one's picking up the slack for me. And I'm probably thinking that's the same for you. Let me know in a comment below. Am I off base here? All right. How about this one? It just keeps getting worse, my friends. Stay home and save lives. Stay home and save lives. I've heard that a lot of people die from accidents at home. They slip in the tub, they fall down the stairs, There might be a fire in the home. Is staying home really safer? Or is going outside and getting fresh air and sunshine and exercising and participating in community like we are designed, right? God designed us to be in fellowship with each other. How exactly does staying home save lives? Can that be quantified? Can it be measured? Is there a way to measure, let's say one community, every single person stays home, and another community of the equal size, everybody goes to work? How are they going to measure exactly whether staying home saved lives? This is what's called mind manipulation. And it is amazing to me how many people will even email me and say, well, of course it does, because we were told, we're being told about it over and over again. That, my friends, as you know, is mind manipulation. Let me know what you think about that. Some areas are flashing these messages on the highways. And what I would recommend you do is to call the Department of Transportation in your area and let them know that those phrases are highly distracting and that it can cause accidents, because those signs are supposed to be for transportation. They're supposed to tell you that there is an accident up ahead, or that there is a construction zone, or that a lane is closed, or that there's police activity. Those signs are not your parents telling you what to do with your individual health behaviors. That would be flashing a sign saying, be sure to save 10% of your income every month. Go to bed at 10 o'clock at night. Those are highway signs designed for highway safety. I would love to see a flood of people contact the Department of Transportation in your area and ask, first of all, who's coming up with those phrases? Are they coming from, what department are they coming from? Who vets them? Who approves them? And how do you get them changed? You need to complain about that if that's something that bothers you, and say, this is distracting. It's going to cause accidents. It is completely unsafe, and it has nothing to do with transportation. Have you had those highway signs flashing at you? Wash your hands, stay home together, apart together, safer together, at home. Really? Okay, how about this one? Masks are now called face coverings. How about that one? They kind of snuck that in because masks in general, at least for me, have a negative connotation, like the masked bandit. And you can't go into a bank wearing a mask, except now you can. And according to the California guidance, I just did a video on that. It is not a mandate from the governor, but there is guidance that says the free people who are not in prison should wear masks, but the incarcerated should not wear masks, even though they are in close quarters with people who are not their family member, which they seem to care about that. It's just very interesting. So yes, the masked bandit, masks to me are very menacing. I cannot see the person's facial expressions. It impedes normal social interaction. Nonverbal gestures, smiling, and that's why we have a face, because we are expressing our communication that way. And when you have somebody all the way covered up to their eyes, and maybe they've got a beanie on and they've got sunglasses on, you are a faceless person. And wouldn't it be sad if that is exactly what the government and the media wanted? Wouldn't that be sad if they wanted everybody to just be the faceless mass, or the faceless mask hysteria, that there were no longer individuals, and you can see the beauty, the God-given beauty of their individual facial characteristics? Wouldn't that be sad if that was by design? Wouldn't that be sad if all of these measures were designed to drive people apart, to destroy natural human interaction? That would be so sad to me. Yeah, that sure would. How about this one? Now, the media will talk about the number of people exposed, and the number of new cases, and the number of new people infected. Okay, Being exposed to something does not mean that you are infected, and a case does not mean that you are actually even sick. We already know that the numbers are murky because even the FDA states that these testing procedures are highly unreliable. I will have another video about that. So to talk about the numbers of exposure and infection, and they say that the numbers are climbing, well, that's because more people are being tested, right? I mean, if I had people in line and half of them had an ice cream cone, and I said, well, look, only 50%, we only have 50% have an ice cream cone. And then I went and I gave an ice cream cone to every single person. I would say, well, 100% of the people have ice cream cones. Well, the number of people never changed. We just gave out more ice cream cones. All right, I'm trying to draw an analogy here. That might be a weak one, but I know that you know what I'm talking about. If you test more people, you're going to have more testing results. It doesn't really carry any weight whatsoever. That leads me to another word that I've heard so much, which is called asymptomatic. Well, you might be sick and you don't know it. Well, you could be spreading germs and you don't know it. Well, that may be, but there's no science behind it. There's very weak evidence, nothing that is compelling or conclusive, because what the science really is that if you sneeze, then you're actually expelling something. Well, Peggy, just breathing, just singing, you're killing people by breathing. How is it we didn't kill people all these other years? How did we get this far in our human race without killing people by breathing? Well, it's a new virus. It's brand new. It's a new illness. We don't know anything about it. No, we don't know that much about it, do we? Because the information keeps changing. How about contact tracing? You know, years ago, I used to sew, and I would have tracing paper, and I would put that on the material and I would trace it out. Kids like to trace pictures. And then there's contact paper that you can put in your shelves, you know, and line your drawers. So it sounds kind of innocuous. Oh, contact tracing. Is that like, what is that exactly? Well, what I call it is forced surveillance. Better yet is unlawful surveillance. What does that mean? Unlawful means it's completely not according to law. We are protected by our rights to be private in our own person. And if someone wants to follow me and surveil me, put surveillance on me, they need a court order, at least in the United States as it used to be. So I'm not going to fall for this phrase contact tracing. I'm calling it forced, unlawful surveillance. If you have a better phrase, I'd love to hear what you guys are using instead. All right, I've just got a couple more because this really, we're kind of really getting down to the grand finale here. They've been telling us that we need to be socially responsible. Can someone define that for me? I'd like to have a definition of what is social responsibility so I can abide by it. And then I would like to know how we measure it. Am I being socially responsible enough or not enough? What is the measurement and what is the definition? Oh, come on, Peggy, you are so selfish. You know what it means. It means caring for your fellow man. Okay, so let's put that in the context of wearing a mask, right? So the mask hysteria. You don't wear a mask to protect yourself, as they say on the media. You wear a mask to protect others. It's the unselfish thing to do. You are showing others by your actions that you are unselfish and you care for them. Okay, so why aren't the people who want me to wear a mask, which obstructs my breathing and gives me claustrophobia and harms my health, why aren't the people who want me to wear a mask, how come they're not the selfish ones? Probably someone will help me in the comments below. So I'm selfish for wanting to do my own health behaviors. That's selfish, but you're not selfish for making me do your health behaviors, right? I think you got that. I don't think I got it. Yeah, that word selfish has been used a little bit too much. I call it self-reliant. This country was built on self-reliance. I do what's right for me. You do what's right for you. So imagine if I went to a restaurant and they said, would you like to have some coffee? And I'd say, no, I would actually rather have some tea. Well, no, you have to have coffee because I want you to have coffee. No. Okay. And the reason why I'm pushing back against all these things is because that is the logical extension. All right. So let's go on, shall we? It's getting even better. Now, how about this one? We no longer have individual rights. We have social privileges. And if you don't obey mommy and daddy of the government, mommy and daddy are going to take away your social privileges. Oh yes, that was actually in the New England Journal of Medicine. And I will find that link and I'll put it in the video description here. And it was written by a couple of attorneys. In the New England Journal of Medicine, attorneys were writing an article. That's all right. And they said that, you know, we need to balance safety and health with social privileges. Since they're attorneys, I would like for them to show me, not an attorney, where that language is in the law. Maybe it's in the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land, or maybe it's in the California Constitution, or maybe it is in the public health orders, which we know are not statutory law. So where exactly and when did our God-given rights, these aren't rights that we have from the Constitution, my friends. These are rights that we are born with. The Constitution is designed to protect those God-given rights from the government overreach. So no, we don't get any rights from the government, and we certainly don't have social privileges. I want you to be on the lookout for these phrases. They really are turning my stomach. Now we're getting down to the last couple. You know that word vaccine can make the hackles go up on your neck, and there has been a lot of harassment of individuals who want their own health freedom, and they're called anti-vaxxers and anti-medicine because apparently bullying and degrading individual opinion and individuals' health freedom is the way to go. So that word vaccine is highly charged, and the government knows it, and the media knows it, and the pharmaceutical companies know it, the vaccine makers know it. There's even a vaccine court because it's outside of our normal court system, and this is where people who have been injured by vaccines can bring their cases to the court. I'll have a whole other video on that. I want to talk about the word vaccine. Oh, we're not going to use that word anymore. You know what it is? I have to admit, this is quite clever, and I want you to be aware of it. You don't have to worry about getting a vaccine. Oh, no, no, no. You're going to get preventative medicine. Yes, preventative medicine. That sounds so nice, right? To prevent something in advance, even though my own immune system could handle it. I'm going to get medicine. Oh, medicine sounds like vitamins, right? People think medicine is like vitamins, that it's going to make you healthy. Medicine is only for sick people, and medicine often makes you sicker. I'll have an upcoming video of my own personal experience with that in my own family. That's what got me going on the whole health and wellness industry. So preventative medicine. I have also heard it referred to as mandatory medicine. Ooh, that rubs me a little bit the wrong way. They probably started with the word mandatory medicine, and when people pushed back, they changed it to preventative medicine. So in other words, we can go back to society once we have preventative medicine. Forget the fact that not everyone who is exposed to anything will get sick from it. Forget the fact that we have our own innate and acquired immune system by the beautiful divine design of our body. Forget that part. Next, they will be requiring everyone to walk around with oxygen tanks because that's better for you than just, and it might be at this point, given the quality of our air, a topic for another video. But this is going to bring me to my final point of language because I do have one more. This came up in our Board of Supervisors meeting, and they said, now, we need to be concerned about the members of our society who are in congregate living. I thought, wow, congregate living. Now, I know what those words mean. Congregate living is the new phrase for the homeless. Now, I don't understand exactly why it's called congregate living, because most of the homeless that I've seen are sort of on their own. They may have areas, camps and so forth, but often I will see individual homeless people. Congregate is like congregation coming together. So in Orange County, at least, we don't have any homeless people. No, we have individuals in congregate living. All right, we're going to follow this all up now and wrap it up because all of this language is leading us to, and I bet you already know what I'm going to say, our new normal. It's our new normal. We better get used to our new normal. In fact, where I work, one of my jobs that I didn't get laid off from, they are bombarding us with information and psychological help on how to adapt to the new normal. Well, first of all, it's not normal. It's highly abnormal, and it is an enforced and put upon, I'm not even going to use the word normal, it is abnormal. So I beg of you to let me know in a comment below some other phrases that have rubbed you the wrong way. What are the alternate words that you can use so that we can take back our language and let go of that manipulation of the mind? All right, see you soon, everybody.